Whoa, I didn't want that mix right there. Let me go back and get that cross dissolve right there. I never do that, but so excited to talk to this man today that I did that by accident because I'm so in awe of the person that is here. So first of all, middle of the day, everybody, and glad to have you here. You know, if it's in the middle of the day, I'm talking to somebody who's very special, and that person has helped me out a lot that we're talking to today. This person has always kind of gave me a boost or tried to give me a platform, and even today, his company is still continuing to help us out through advertising. But we'll get into all that in a little bit. Let me go ahead and introduce this person that we are talking about. Many of you know him because you have seen him throughout the years in the many successful endeavors that he has done through Rooster Teeth, and that is Gus Sorolla. Gus, how you doing, man?
Good to see you, Corey. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Better than I'm talking to you. It's been a while, man.
It's been a little while. I think the pandemic separated everyone for a little while. I think the last time I saw you was right before the pandemic. It might have been like South by Southwest. Oh, then 2019, I think might have been the last time.
Actually, yeah. Was it South by Southwest or was it that Alamo Draft House party where we were at that house? You know.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That might have been it. Yeah, that was it, I think. Yeah. It's been a little while, yeah.
That's years, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. And, you know, we run in very similar circles here in Austin, so it's good to see that overlap.
Yeah, you know, those circles are starting to separate a little bit more now that you have more people working for your company, man. I talk to more people who work at your company than you, but I mean, that's a good thing because that just means that you're very successful. You know, for everybody who doesn't know Rooster Teeth, and a lot of people don't, Rooster Teeth, very successful media company. You guys started out as three friends doing Halo parodies through the shorts known as Red versus Blue. Do you mind if I show just a little bit of Red versus Blue so people can see where that started?
Yeah. Oh God, you want to show something old? It's like 19 years old now. I hope it ages okay.
I don't know how old this clip is right here, but I can tell you your humor has still maintained throughout all these years. Like, these have not aged at all, man. A lot of people still rediscover these or discover these for the first time and find them hilarious. You know, you always build up a new generation of fans who find these things, man. But for those who don't know, Red versus Blue, again, they are Halo parodies where they took some of the animation from the game and did voiceovers for some of the characters here. And just skyrocketed for these guys, took off. And it's one of the things, I think the first thing that led to your success, right?
Yeah. It was we'd made like a couple of websites before this, but this was back in early '03, and we decided to try dabbling in video. This is our first like real serious video attempt. So that it really took off.
Yeah, and here's a little sample of what it's like for those who have not seen this before. I need a refresher.
Hey, yeah. You ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it? Why are we here? I mean, are we the product of some cosmic coincidence, or is there really a God watching everything, with a plan for us and stuff? I don't know, man, but it keeps me up at night. What? I mean, why are we out here, in this canyon? Oh, yeah.
So, as you can see, imagine if the characters just had their own lives when you weren't playing the game. Imagine if they just had these existential discussions when you're not controlling them. They had their own freedom to talk about what they want to and do what they want to, or when you don't have the game console on. How did this? So, I mean, you gave a little bit of a hint at how this got started, but you want to tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, a few of us used to work down in South Austin at a call center that did tech support for internet service providers back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And like the internet was kind of taking off, and we all wanted a creative outlet. So, we started making various websites, just writing some, like our attempt at comedy, doing video game reviews, stuff like that. And, we just kind of were cycling through ideas. We would run an idea for a year or two, then it kind of ran its course, and we, set it aside, do something new. And this was just one of the projects that, we decided, hey, let's try this one. Really, we were just trying to make stuff that we thought would entertain our friends, that we thought was funny. And this one just kind of really took off and went from there. We were the product of two different groups of friends of a guy named Bernie Burns, one of the other co-founders. Mm-hmm. And he had friends that he went to college with that he had made a student film with. And then he had some friends like us who worked at the call center who were really into video games and making content on the internet. And so it was like kind of the combination of these groups where, people who wanted to make film and people who wanted to make stuff on the internet. It's kind of like, you got peanut butter in my chocolate, that kind of thing. And we just kind of, meshed it together and started making this series that we started putting out on the internet back in early 2003.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were fans like anybody else. I have a picture of you, a very young Gus from back in 2001, man, where you play.
Yeah.
I think you're waiting to play a Halo game or something.
That was E3 2001. That was the first time anyone in the public could play Halo, and we had all been really excited about it. And we went to E3 specifically because we wanted to try to play Halo because we were such fans of the game even before it came out. And that, for some reason, someone took a photo. I think there was a webcam that automatically captured images, and you'd see that right in front of that. There's me with the red Hawaiian shirt. In front of me is Matt. And behind me, over my right shoulder, that's Jeff. Some of the other guys that we started up with.
Yeah.
And that was us playing Halo for the first time.
Yeah, and Matt has gone on to direct some of your movies, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's directed a few. He's one of the guys at Burning You who had made the film with him in college.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's directed some of our features.
And that's the incredible thing, man. Since then, I mean, you've just exploded into all these other areas of success. Animation, a podcast platform, an ad partnership for creators out there, and movies, and of course you have your huge convention, RTX, which is returning since the pandemic shut down. I guess after a couple of years of a hiatus, now it's back.
We did 2020 and 2021 remotely. We did virtual events, where we had panels via Zoom, and we live streamed stuff, showed premieres of things. But this will be the first time back in person at the convention center since summer 2019. So after 2 years of virtual, it's back in person here in Austin downtown again. I'm super excited for it, man. I really am.
Yeah, man. I remember like eating lunch with you back in the day when you were prepping for RTX, and just how much it was, such hard work, and you guys were putting so much work into it, but the enthusiasm, was incredible to see with you all the time, man. And also to give people a little example again of outside of Red versus Blue, how they've gone into all these different things, such as filmmaking and content creation. That includes a lot of shorts and comedies and whatnot. They have a promo for RTX. You don't mind if I show that?
Oh yeah. I like this promo. Yeah,
this is hilarious. And then you will also get to see a little bit of Gus's great acting skills here, man. And I'm not being sarcastic like you.
Great in air quotes.
I'm not being sarcastic at all, man. You actually you're very hilarious. It's funny how you see this guy outside of this, and he's so business minded, and he's so nice, and and he's so polite and everything. But when you get in front of that camera, man, you just get downright silly, and it's funny, man.
Coming up, after 2 years at home, RTX is coming back to the Austin Convention Center in person. More on that when we come back.
Smooth.
You two will be competing against each other at RTX. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, but it's not going to be much of a competition.
What the you mean by some
order! I will have order! Up next on Zarola's Court.
If anyone here will be at first night for trailers and world premieres at RTX, then speak now or... Wait!
I'll be there.
Wait! I'll be there too.
If you'd like more information about RTX and to get badges, go to rtxevent.com.
I watched that about 3 times before I came onto this interview, man. It's really hilarious. How many editors do you have working for you now? You have a whole studio.
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. I couldn't even put a number on it. We have editors obviously dedicated to video production like this. We have audio editors dedicated to podcast editing. We have a lot of people who work, in post behind the scenes to make us look good, so that we look funny on, in front of the camera. We couldn't do this without, a huge support staff behind the scenes who get everything put together.
Yeah, so I was gonna talk to you about, with everything that you have going on now. Like I said, these guys have just a full-fledged studio. And are you still located at the hangar?
Yeah, we're over in Austin Film Studios. We had to move out of one hangar into a different one. We kind of had better use of space in a different one, and we're still in the process of remodeling it, so we're like in a construction zone right now. But yeah, we're still over there in Austin Film Studios.
Yeah, it was a huge jump, man. I remember when you were down south off of Slaughter Lane, and it was a big place, but to think how much you've outgrown that you actually have to move into a hangar, a plane hangar.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know if you remember back when we were down south, like we'd even outgrown that building. Across, we had we called it the annex, like across the parking lot. We had rented space in another building over there that we didn't really publicly talk about that much. But like all of our live streams and podcast production was done in the other building across the parking lot. And by the time we left that building, like we were just stacked. There were people everywhere. It was so crowded.
Yeah, I do remember that, man. I forgot that. You know, you had some animators in there too and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a ton of animators in there.
Yeah, no, I do remember that. I don't know who, maybe it was you, but somebody gave me the tour of the place. That's when I went over there and you did the whole Be Funny Black Guy thing.
Back when we were doing the Vines.
The Vines.
That might be my favorite Vine that we ever did, just because of your delivery of actually my degree's in marketing. It's like just so deadpan.
I know. You know, when we've actually put this back up, we're gonna have to edit that in because I don't have it. It wasn't sent to me, and I didn't think to find that. You've had me in a couple other productions, though, man, which I might show in a little bit. But for right now, you know, we're talking about again all these facets that you've branched out into. So, you know, when did things really start to take off into what it is now? So, you know, like for example, from Red versus Blue. When did you start to see things start to really blow up for you?
Yeah, Red vs. Blue launched April 1st, 2003 is when we first started putting that out. And it was pretty quick that it took off. Like it was, maybe within the first week or two, it was like, oh, we're getting serious traffic. We're getting real traction here. And then I remember a month later, it was on May 5th, 2003, we were featured on the front page of Fark.com, which was like a big news aggregator site at the time. Slashdot and Penny Arcade all on the same day. And like our traffic just like exponentially took off after that. And it was like a double-edged sword back then because this was before YouTube existed. So, you know, as you became more popular, you had to pay for when people downloaded your videos. So we started getting huge bills from our servers for people downloading all the videos. So it was like, yay, people like it. Oh, crap. We have a $10,000 bill we have to pay now.
So wait a minute. Did you have the money to actually pay it at the time?
No. What happened was we were like, oh, you know, we could see the writing on the wall. You could see, you know, the downloads were going up. I think that first month our download bill was, I think, actually $15,000. And we were like, this isn't sustainable. We can't do this if we're having to pay $15,000 a month for this. So we were like, you know what? Let's just put a PayPal button on the website. And like no preset amount or anything. Just like if people like it and they think they're funny, they can click on the PayPal link. Maybe they'll send us a few bucks and they can help us pay for the bandwidth bill. And that's how it started. And like sure enough, like I remember we had set like a script to run in our email program. So anytime someone did send us a donation and we got the email from PayPal, it would make like a cash register sound on our computer. And we set that up and went to lunch because we were still working our day jobs at the time. And we got a call from someone at the day job when we were out eating. It was like, hey, what's going on in your office? It sounds like there's a cash register going off nonstop. It's really loud and it's distracting everyone at work. So we had to like drive back to the office. Like, oh, wow, people actually like this. They're actually sending us money.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so like just like kind of like a tip jar, you know. And that helped us pay for that first month of bandwidth bills. And then we were like, okay, there's an appetite for this. Let's figure out rewards we can give people. So we were like trying to figure out, like, we don't want to just take money. What else can we give people? So we started like trying to figure out kind of like a tiered, almost like subscription model. And that's really where it took off.
Man, you were way ahead of the curve at the time.
Yeah, it's nuts to think about. Like that, you know, 19 years ago, it was a whole other world. There was no Patreon. There was no like crowdfunding. There, you know, we kind of just like put up a PayPal button. They were like, let's figure out like what. Again, we always took the approach of like, if we liked something, what would we want? You know, would we want something back? You know, as a fan, you know, we were big fans of different internet creators and video games, obviously. Like, if we could participate and give money, what were the kind of things? What are the kind of benefits we would want? What would we want back? And then try to figure out how to scale the business from there.
Yeah, no, that's incredible, man. You know, I mean, crowdfunding and asking for donations is one thing, but you were way ahead of everything with the subscription model too.
Yeah, I think what we ended up settling on that first year was people could give us $10 and they would get like special access on our forums. You know, they'd get like a little star by their name, and they would have like a special private forum where they could talk, and we would interact with them a lot more than the regular general forums. And then if they donated $20, then we would send them a DVD at the end of the season.
Nice.
And you know, package it all with like, we had to make bloopers and director's commentary and stuff. And that was it. You know, that was like, all right, that's good enough.
So you had to do your own fulfillment at the time.
Yeah, so then we didn't understand that either. So then we had to learn how to author DVDs. We had to learn how to get DVDs printed. We had to package it. We packaged the first 2 seasons ourselves by hand. We would get like a big cargo truck, or, you know, drop a pallet of DVDs at our house, and we'd go buy, you know, a pallet of envelopes and stuff them all and manually address them all and get the stamps and stamp them and send them out. It was a learning experience.
Man, that's incredible to see, to hear, because a lot of people, you know, you always hear these success stories, and just this is another case where people don't understand the hard work that went into getting you to where you are now. So that's incredible, man.
Yeah, I remember there was a lot of, we learned, we did things the dumb way. We had no idea what we were doing back then. And we would have to go, I don't remember, it's been, like I said, almost 20 years. I don't remember what the exact postage we needed anymore was, but there was like a specific stamp that we needed for every package we sent. And it had a picture of a woman named Edna Ferber on it. I will never forget that name for the rest of my life. So we had to go to every post office we could in Austin, and we'd be like, I want to buy every Edna Ferber stamp that you have. And they'd laugh, and they'd be like, well, we have 200 of those. Like, yes, give me all 200. And then they would say, like, well, we can't sell you all 200 because someone else might need them. Like, but we need them. I need 200 of those, right? Actually, I need 1,000 of those, but I'll take 200 if you have them. And they would be like, well, we can sell you 100. Like, oh, my God. So then we'd have to go in rotations. Like, one of us would go in, buy them, go back to the car, and someone else would drive by like 30 minutes later and buy the rest of them. It was like, we knew where every post office in Austin was, and we have to keep track of, like, where have we been, who have we bought out, who haven't we. It was almost like we were doing something illegal, but we were just buying stamps.
Yeah. That's weird, man. You know, when they say, you're exactly right. They say somebody might need them, and you're like, yes, me. I need them right now. What was it specifically about that stamp that you had to have that stamp?
It was a specific denomination. It was like, I want to say it was like $1.03. And if we combined that with another stamp, it was the exact amount of postage we needed. It was like a very specific denomination. It wasn't like a denomination you would normally use, but it was like a very specific dollar amount. That way we weren't putting more money on the stamps than we needed to and wasting money that way. It was an 83-cent stamp. I just looked it up.
Nice. Now, you know, really, how many people are buying that stamp? Were people coming in droves and buying that stamp anyway? No.
Right. It's an 83-cent stamp. What was the purpose of printing that? Like, that's such a weird number.
Yeah, that is strange to me. I've never heard of this before, man. You know, speaking of the pandemic and how things were before, so you were doing RTX, you know, for years before the pandemic, of course, and again, very successful. You saw that grow exponentially throughout the years. You take this break, of course, you do it virtually, so you know you're not completely gone. But now that it's returning to in person, have you made any adjustments? Are there any big changes since then?
Yeah, I think, you know, we're trying to dabble our toe back into live events. You know, we've been holding some smaller live events leading up to this, like, you know, tours at smaller venues, like theaters around the country, just to kind of gauge interest. Because I think, you know, there's still a lot of people who are, you know, kind of gun shy about going out to a big event with a lot of people. So we're really trying to think about the way to execute it safely, where everyone can be comfortable, and to accommodate for the fact that, you know, 60,000 people might not want to crowd into a giant room anymore, you know, like in years past. So really trying to like find the appropriate scale to have a good time, but still balance out where people feel comfortable and like they're not overcrowded. Because we're still trying to figure out what people's appetite for that kind of stuff is, and we're very, you know, sensitive to that. We don't want to make, you know, a dangerous situation. We don't want to cause an outbreak or to have like a cluster of illness. So we want to try to make sure we're doing everything right and as safely as possible.
I just got back in the fall from ACL for the first time, and it was packed. So I think people's appetite is huge to get back out there, man. I don't think you're gonna have any problem at all.
Well, the other wrinkle, like ACL, at least it's outside. You know, when you do an event indoors, it's like a whole other ball game. So I think there is still there is still that appetite, and I think people still want to come out. So we're just trying to make sure that we approach it as smartly as we can.
Well, we did a event in New York. I mean, it was a live show that we did, but we sold out the place, and I mean, that's New York, so it was just kind of like, all right, so people want to come out. Point being that you have very, very hardcore fans. You're almost you're a cult. And so people they're going to show up if they really, if they are big into your community, if they're loyal followers.
Yeah, we did a live event here in Austin a couple months ago. I think it was back in March at the Stateside Theater. We did like a taping of our podcast, and like you said, it wasn't 100% sold out. I think it was like 95% sold out. So in fact, effectively sold out event.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely an appetite for that. People do want to come back out.
Of course. Content creation. Now, you guys have been doing this for decades, and content creation. When you involve technology and everything, it's moving so fast now. I mean, in addition to technology, you got all these different platforms. So, you being one of the biggest content creators out there, what do you see different from how you started to how things are right now?
I think the landscape has changed so much, so many times. I think if you're not constantly learning and adapting to new platforms and new methods of consumption, you run the risk of just becoming irrelevant. Like when we first started, way back when, we thought no one wants to watch a video on the internet longer than 3 or 4 minutes. And obviously that's not true anymore. Now, you can make a much longer form video, and that's not a problem at all. And, we started before YouTube, then YouTube rose, and it's like, oh, if you want to do this, you have to have a YouTube channel. So, on top of making and maintaining our website, we also started our YouTube channel, and we're uploading there. But now, we're seeing where YouTube's on the decline as well. And now it's a lot more about social videos via social media, whether it's Instagram Reels, TikTok, to a lesser extent, Twitter. So it's all about just trying to, now it's a lot more about going to your audience and meeting them where they already are, as opposed to trying to draw them to your destination. And, these are just some small examples of changes. On top of that, you had, I spend a lot of time making podcasts now. When we started, podcasts weren't a thing. Then we started making one. Now I do 4 a week. And it's all about, and again, the podcast model is just like that, where people don't go to one platform to listen to a podcast. They listen, on whatever audio player they already have. So making sure that your audio is going out to the listener wherever they are. It's all reflective of that. So I think there's a lot more about going to your audience and meeting them where they are.
Okay. No, that's you, again, I think that's great to hear, because if anybody's going to adjust with the times, it's going to be you guys. It's been incredible to see how you've just done that throughout it, through everything. Because we were talking about Vine. You really were successful with Vine until Vine went away, but you were using that very effectively. Yeah,
and I think again, we were late to YouTube. We were late to Vine. We've been, I think, late to TikTok. We're never first, movers in those spaces. I think that we've learn to be a little patient and wait to see what's going to shake out. Thank God we didn't go all in on Quibi. You want to make sure that a platform is going to make it and it's going to be around for a bit, and then start trying to figure out how to tailor your content for that.
But you do so much of the content outside of just social media stuff. It's been crazy to see how your animated stuff has done.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So. Do you plan on making another movie, first of all?
I think, we'd like to. I don't think it's on. There's nothing, as far as I know. So, full disclosure, I don't typically work on the movie side of things. So I have kind of like a detached view on it. As far as I know, I don't think we have a movie in active development. But I know we would love to make another one. I just don't. I think we're coming out of the pandemic. We're trying to reevaluate where, we need to send our focus right now.
Where's your animation department going? Because that is a whole different production department now. I mean, do you have any deals with Netflix happening right now?
There's constantly new stuff coming out on there. Of course, we're making RWBY. I believe there's going to be RWBY Volume 9 news at RTX. We have a new project that we're going to talk a lot more about at RTX called RWBY Ice Queendom, which is like a partnership with a Japanese animation studio. So that's like all of the Ruby stuff is like gangbusters taking off, and I can't say too much about it now, but in like 2 weeks there'll be a lot more news about that stuff. But even on top of that, we have other animated projects that are coming out. We still make our Rooster Teeth animated adventures. We have our aviation explanation series, which aired very briefly. We're also starting to experiment with like shorter form animation stuff. Like I said, the aviation explanation. We have some Face Jam animated stuff. So it's like also trying to dabble in some shorter form stuff there as well. So there's a plethora of animated projects coming out and in the works.
Yeah, you seem like such a self-sustaining studio that you don't really. Do you feel the need to have distribution from anybody else, like any of these other streaming platforms, anything?
We largely rely on a lot of our stuff. But distribution helps. I'm not going to lie. We were very fortunate that Genlock Season 2 was distributed by HBO Max when it came out. It's on our website as well now, but there was a period of exclusivity. And as far as like reaching other markets that maybe we can't reach as easily ourselves, there is a lot of value in that. But we do a lot of distribution ourselves on our own website. But we are part of as a result of mergers and we are part of Warner Brothers Discovery, which is why Genlock Season 2 was able to be on HBO Max, and we do a lot of work with them. I think it's great.
Yeah, well, I remember when the whole merger happened with Warner Brothers. So how has that affected things right now today?
Yeah, it's been good. We're still very much allowed to make the content we want, which is exactly the kind of thing you want to hear. We're really focusing on the things that we are passionate about, and I think they've really done a good job of empowering us and enabling us to reach new audiences. And we do crossover work with them sometimes, like on the merchandise side of things, and in novelizations and books, and they're really helping integrate some of our projects with a lot of stuff that they have, and it's so cool, dude. It's like some of the collaborations are just like super cool, and it's like really, as like a lifelong nerd and geek, like some of it like really makes me really happy.
It's one of the collaborations that you like the most.
We've done some collaborations with like our Achieve line with Batman. I think that was last summer, and it's like, man, that's really cool to like have a like a Batman logo and our Achieve logo like side by side on merchandise. Nice. There's also some like Ruby young adult novels that I think are pretty cool.
So when I was talking to you about how things are, back in the day, pre-pandemic, and talking about RTX and everything, and when I used to see you around in certain circles and whatnot, at that time, like I said, well, you were more visible. I would see you, and now, so again, full disclosure here, for everyone out there, I am part of the Megaphone ad partnership program that you guys got going on. So I'm talking to a whole different staff of people. People I don't even think have seen you or Gus or anybody, man. So at this moment right now, what's your involvement with the company? What do you what's your position?
I'm still making, so my title is very vague. It's co-founder. But realistically, my day-to-day is like I'm still making creative projects that I'm passionate about. Like, I think that lots of times people, after they've been doing something for a while, they want to climb up and do management and, get out of the limelight. But I'm happy like doing the limelight stuff. I don't want to stare at spreadsheets all day. I'm happy making podcasts. Like I said, I'm working on 4 podcasts a week now. I'm still doing Rooster Teeth podcast. I've got a D&D podcast called Tales from the Stinky Dragon. I've got a podcast with one of the other co-founders, Jeff. The podcast is called Anima. And my other podcast is Black Box Down. It's a podcast all about aviation incidents and disasters. And then on top of that, still making TikToks, still making all the other short videos that we're putting out, via social media, via our YouTube channel. So still like really, trying to come up with ideas and then execute them, whether it's pitching an idea, writing an idea, helping to film it, or getting in front of camera and acting it out. Like you just saw the Sorrells Court thing. I didn't write any of that. They just said, hey, do you want to be a judge on camera? I was like, sure, yeah, whatever. Showing up for stuff like that. So still really trying to help drive like creative energy. Yeah, there I am.
That cracks me up to two gavels, man. I love that. Hey, I'm going to kind of switch gears real quick to something kind of dark, but I think it's kind of relevant to what things, where things are right now. You could probably guess where this is going, but, one of your big stars over there at Rooster Teeth, Gavin Free. Mm-hmm. Many know the story about how him and his girlfriend at the time, they had a home invasion by a very disturbed guy who came in with the intent of killing Gavin, and he was armed with the gun. Yeah. Fortunately, nothing happened. Cops got there, they shot and killed the guy. That's kind of very sad on its own right there too. But Gavin and his girl hid in the closet, and they weren't found by him. But after this happened here, because even when I saw this, I was shook up, man, thinking like, and I'm not on the level of you guys or anything, but I still thought like, I'm still out there, I'm still exposed. It made me think about, should I make some life adjustments? And so, with you, being that this was so close to you, did you make any big adjustments in your life, maybe for privacy, or did you hide more?
Yeah, it's it really made me think a lot about the information that's out there, and about physical security at my home. I changed a lot of things about my home to try to make it a little more secure, and really have tried. And I think it's maybe inadvertently made me even more of an introvert. Like trying to be, really keep things at arm's length and try to always be safe when I'm in public at an event, and really, aware of security precautions. And we've always taken security at events, like RTX, really seriously. But this just made me think about like the 360 degrees, like everything about my life from a security standpoint. But yeah, it was a really scary situation. I'm really grateful that Gavin Megger ended up okay.
Yeah, and how does that make you feel about the situation with gun control today?
Man, I tweeted about this a couple weeks ago. I grew up really close to Uvalde, where the shooting, or a shooting, took place fairly recently, and I've got family out in that town. And I grew up shooting. I grew up a very rural life. I grew up hunting. I was given my first gun for my 9th birthday. Like my parents gave me a rifle when I turned 9. So I've owned guns all my life, but even I'm like, this is too much. Like we need to rein this in. There needs to be, I don't know what the solution is. Something needs to be done, whether it's, banning them outright, or, registering them so that, we can keep better tabs on the people that own firearms. Just like we need to be talking about solutions. And I know there's like this, bipartisan push that's on the table. That's an option right now. And personally, I don't think it goes far enough. If you really want, my opinion on it, I think that we should be doing a lot more. But I'm not gonna say no to it. I'm glad there's at least something. It's like, okay, maybe that's like step one. But let's get this done, and then let's say yes, and what's next, and let's keep that ball rolling.
Yeah, it's like little baby steps, but it's a stupid baby. I don't know. Yeah, it's just dumb. It's funny, man, hearing about how you had guns, because everybody thinks of you as kind of a, by your own push. Yeah. Think of you as like a nerdy guy or a geeky guy, and now you're talking about how you were out there hunting and you had your first gun at 9.
I grew up in the country. I was hunting. I would ride horses. I had a very rural upbringing.
Wow, man.
That I think people forget about, because obviously I live a very, city-based urban lifestyle now, and it seems like it was a lifetime ago, but that was my life for many, many years.
Man, a lot of these nerds gonna look at you as a phony now.
I was always a nerd. I was just a nerd with a gun.
A nerd with a gun.
Oh no, that sounds awful. That sounds terrible.
That's the name of your next podcast, man. Nerd with a gun. Hey, man, it's been great catching up with you. I know, and we're talking about how much stuff you got going on. I'll ask you one more thing. You're talking about how you just love doing what you're doing right now. The projects that you're passionate about. So, where do you see yourself going from here?
Man, I don't know. It's funny. Like I said, I have 4 podcasts that I make weekly right now. I love podcasts. I love talking. And there's another one I want to make, but I just don't have the time. Like I'm already so tied up with everything. I'm hoping to find time to make another podcast. Like I think my 5th one, my next one, it's a great idea. I just need the time to do it. So that's my immediate goal, is to do that. But long term, I just want to keep making content. I just want to keep making stuff that people enjoy. And I want, I think the world can be overwhelming and kind of a messed up place. And I hope that sometimes, I can make content that can, make people forget about it for a little while and make people realize that there's stuff to enjoy out there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, you definitely put that out there, and a lot of people enjoy your stuff. So
good.
You got a lot of things going on, trying to even find time to do that 5th podcast. So I'm going to
get it done.
What's that?
I'm going to get it done. I swear. I promise.
You'll get it. I'm eager to see what this is now, because you seem so excited about it.
It's good. It's a good one.
Oh, well, I'll be definitely looking forward, man. Forward to it. I'll be looking forward to it. And thank you, man, for taking the time. It's always good to just simply catch up with you.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks so much, Corey.
Yeah, thank you. And and I gotta do this bumper and everything to tell people to go away. But you can drift away right now, man. Look at there you go. And there he goes, people. And it was great talking to him, man. Like I said, we used to run to each other all the time back in the day. But there he's leaving. There he is.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
I'll see you.
No, thanks, man. I used to talk to him back in the day, and it was always great. He used to always just give me a lot of great advice and a lot of encouragement. So it was good catching up, man. And, of course, a lot of people love his stuff. I don't need to tell you about it. A lot of people know him, but probably better than I do, who have never even met him before. But I want to thank all you guys out there for the support that you give us and for keeping up with these interviews and everything else that we do. These interviews can be found on our YouTube channel, Double Toasted Interviews. Do a lot of them. I've talked to people that I never dreamed I would be able to talk to. I mean, just simply even over a computer. So you guys have made that possible, and I thank you very much for that. And because of that, you know that you can always talk to me. My door is always open to you. Whether it's, well, not my real door. I'm like him. I'm trying to keep secure and safe in here. But my virtual door is always open to you. So you can open that door anytime by typing in kcoolmans@gmail.com. That is KCOOLMANZ@gmail.com. Email us with any kind of questions, comments, compliments, insults, input, and/or advice. Hit us up on those social medias: Instagram, the Twitter, the Facebook, our TikTok, even our Patreon. Just copy all that information down right there. Memorize it, love it, but of course, you've got to use it. It's no good if you don't. Also, if you find yourself here in Austin, Texas, I don't know about opening my door to you, but I will come out and meet you somewhere. I'll hang out with you if you're cool. And I'll tell you, if you're cool, then you'll let us know before you get here what your plans are for Austin. So please email me, kcoolmans@gmail.com, and let me know what those plans are, whether you're moving here or just passing through. If you're cool, and you let us know ahead of time what those plans are, we just might clear our schedules and hang out with you. All right, everybody, that is it. And I'll see you on the next one, whether it's an interview or another show or whatever we're doing. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you are listening to or watching this, goodbye and stay toasty. Ba ba da ba 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 da ba da ba ba.